Hey everyone, Erica Reddick at AMFEST 2023. We have one of our guests from last year, Miss Pam Garfield Jaeger, the truthful therapist. Okay? The truthful therapist. Go to any of her social medias, look her up, Google it. Now, we got to talk to you last year. And one of the things that we've really seen, people talk a lot about wokeness in education and wokeness in the media and things like that. But what a lot of people don't understand is how much that leftist ideology has actually also infiltrated your profession, therapy, psychotherapy, psychology, and things like that. So share with our viewers a little bit about, what had you did you go along with the ideology at first? Did you change? Like, what happened? What was your evolution in walking away from that kind of thinking?
I have actually a really interesting story. I don't know if I told you this last year.
No, let's hear it.
So I was, I'd say, left-leaning in the past.
Right, okay.
But my left leanings were never as crazy as they are now.
That's what I say. I tell people, because of the way we're raised in the educational system, you're like a default Democrat.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We get raised default liberals, and then something has to happen to kind of change our mind.
That is exactly what happened.
Okay.
So what woke me up from not being a Democrat and a liberal was actually the George Floyd riots and the mostly peaceful protests.
Mostly peaceful,
but fiery protests.
But mostly not fiery, like on fire.
And they said, defund the police, call the social worker. And I don't know if you can tell on camera, but I am 5'2" and 115 pounds. And I am not equipped to handle a very violent domestic violence situation or these other things that they think social workers are the people that should be handling.
So what you're saying, Pam, is that you don't feel like you have the proper training and affect to go deal with somebody who's like high on drugs, hurting themselves, hurting other people, armed.
What do you think?
You're not going to de-escalate that situation?
No. I actually have some martial arts training in my past. So
yeah.
I actually could probably hold my own in certain situations, but still.
Right.
Let's be realistic.
No, this is what you guys... Okay, my husband, Benjamin, fight choreographer, stuntman. Mm-hmm. He will tell you, and life reality will tell you, that 150... No matter what you see on Atomic Blonde, okay, they're not jumping up, wrapping their legs around somebody's head and like flipping them up. Like that's not. We don't have enough weight, in fact, to actually leverage that.
No.
Okay, so that was kind of your wake up.
So that was my wake up. But honestly, I wasn't in the field for a couple years because I had a physical disability. I had a medical condition. So I had a medical condition where I was on disability for a few years. So I was actually knocked out of my profession, in a way kind of knocked out of society, because I wasn't really talking to people because I was in so much pain and I was just struggling with the healthcare system and the doctors not believing me and just a personal crisis.
Yeah.
So that went on from the years 2016. Do you remember what happened in 2016? A certain president was elected.
Mr.
Somebody, I forgot his name.
Teflon Don.
And then I got better in 2020. That's when that big wake up happened. I finally got back to work in 2021.
Okay.
And so that was after a year of lockdowns. I live in California.
Oh, gross.
Yeah.
Gross.
And I finally got back to work after all of that odyssey between my health conditions and the California lockdowns. There was so much isolation, so much sadness. This was my big comeback. I'm finally getting back to work.
All right.
I could only work part-time, quite frankly, because I still have some chronic pain. I can't type. It's a repetitive stress injury that I had. And so I finally found a job that can accommodate my situation. And then what happened? We had the COVID vaccine mandates. And after everything I went through in my healthcare, in my health situation, I opted not to get the COVID vaccine.
Yeah, right. If you're already dealing with health issues, you don't want to be injecting yourself with experimental.
No, I didn't trust.
Oh, but of course, now YouTube, if you're watching, of course, it's perfectly safe.
It's totally fine.
And helps to prevent death and destruction. Blah blah. Whatever.
Safe and effective. Safe and effective. Safe and effective. Safe and effective.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So now we've now we've pleased the YouTube overlords. Okay.
So I went through all that. that. So I was not going to do that, and I decided that I had nothing more to lose. So I became kind of this outspoken. I realized that so many people could not do what I was doing. I already had lost so much. I had nothing to lose. And so I decided I was going to speak out on what I was seeing in my profession, which is insanity. Woke insanity. Let's just say what it is.
Real talk. Yes.
Between the critical race theory, the victim mentality, the gender nonsense.
Yes.
Dividing families.
Yes.
I was working mostly with teens and families and young adults. And I was watching them not get therapy, but really just having all of their problems be enabled and be taken more, divided more from the people that love them.
Well, and that's what, when I heard things like these laws being passed that you can't even... If somebody is questioning their gender or whatever issue they're having, that the therapist actually can't talk to them about it because it's considered conversion therapy.
Yes.
So, like, what is the point of therapy if you're not allowed to question the things that someone is saying, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I still don't understand how they're rationalizing this. I mean, they're taking a term from the past when they're conflating gay and lesbian conversion therapy to the new transgender agenda.
Right.
And so they're basically saying that you're born transgender, and there's still a lot of controversy whether you're born gay or not. I don't honestly want to get into that right now.
Right. No, it doesn't even matter.
But they are conflating basically what is a social contagion from the internet and from school indoctrination. You just interviewed someone else from the schools who was talking all about that, and saying if the person even mentions it and the therapist says, well, what happened or why or what, they start asking more questions, that could be considered conversion therapy.
Yeah.
And really what it is or the challenge is if you have a client or a patient that wants to be affirmed and they're not affirmed, they can file that complaint that their transgender identity was not immediately affirmed, and that therapist can lose their license. That's really how it happens.
Yeah. Oh my God. Do you realize that if my therapist, okay, so I've had therapy on and off over the years for various things. Now imagine if I had a therapist when I was feeling like unhappy or, any given thing, any false belief that I've had over the years, if they had said, no, that's great and that's true and that's real, I would be a miserable wreck right now.
Yes.
Like, no, I'm not actually a victim of my childhood upbringing. Yes, those things are real. Yes, they really happened. But if I let them define me and my personhood and my life, I'm not better for that.
Exactly. I mean, the feelings are real, and you want the feelings validated, but you don't want the belief that's causing you to make poor decisions to continue to be validated.
Exactly.
Because then you're just going to continue on that path of self-destruction, right? So, unfortunately, therapists are getting their hands tied, and they're also being trained to believe that because they're making a safe space, that they're being therapeutic. But we all know where the safe spaces went in colleges. It has made, unfortunately, these young people be very miserable and very unproductive in society.
Oh my gosh. So, people most of the time don't need a safe space. They need someone to tell them the truth.
That's why I'm the truthful therapist.
This is what I'm saying. And that's what, like, my last therapist, okay, you guys, was more like a drill sergeant than he was anything else. Because I'd go in there and I'd be like, I'm a victim and look at me, I'm so blah, blah, blah. And he'd be like, well, that's stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, he wouldn't say that.
Right, but even if he did, though, he would say it in a way.
He questioned me, right? He made me justify my beliefs. He made me just, like, why do you believe that? What do you... And invariably, he'd be, like, asking me questions and pulling this stuff out, and I'd go, wait a second. Are you telling me this is just more daddy issues? Like, I'm 45 years old and I'm still dealing with daddy issues because it's this underlying
stuff.
stuff.
Explore underlying issues, right? That's what a therapist is supposed to do and help break you out of negative patterns. It's pretty simple, actually.
Because I don't want. Why would you want to be affirmed in your misery?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
And this goes further than gender. I mean, you look at substance abuse, you look at harm reduction. There's so many different things. You know, they say, they don't affirm anything else except gender. Actually, they do.
That is not true.
They actually do, unfortunately.
No, there's Burlington, Vermont. Actually, the mayor actually suggested safe supply.
Yeah.
Okay, not just safe injection sites, but we will actually, as the city, provide you with the drugs.
Right. I mean, I live near San Francisco.
Okay, so you know.
I know, unfortunately, better than, yeah.
Okay, so literally, so what is it? So you kind of got to watch this progression happen over time, right?
I have.
And then
Well, in a way, it kind of came quickly for me because I was out, and then I came back, and it was like, blah, it was so crazy.
And so what had you say, okay, what was like the straw that broke the camel's back? You said it was George Floyd. Okay, so you saw kind of like a lie happening and whatever.
Yeah.
So then what made you decide, okay, I got to get out there, I got to say something?
Well, it was the fact that they took me out of my job once again, that I had less to lose. And I watched my colleagues who were in a position where they couldn't do that quite as easily because I can't work full time. My career was already kind of in the dumps, so I had less to lose. So I realized I felt like I had a calling, like I had to be the one, even though
Like
I'm kind of shy.
has to say it.
I'm scared of being on microphones and all that, and I've gotten a little more used to it. But it was not something I would normally do because I'd be scared of that. But I realized that if it's not me, then who? Yeah. So I decided to step up and start talking about it. I felt like I was talking into, the abyss, but like people noticed me and they realized like I empowered other therapists to start speaking up. I found other like-minded people, and I founded a lot of families and parents and other people looking for therapy that's not just affirming. So,
exactly.
I just started speaking the truth because I wasn't afraid.
Now, for those folks who are watching, if they need a therapist, right? Because a lot of us do, whether it's because of everything that's going on, you lose a loved one, many of us, depending on what's going on, we just need somebody to talk to and work through our feelings. If someone is looking for a good therapist who's not crazy and woke, is there a network where they can find these people? Are there questions they should ask to discover? How can you recommend people find a good therapist?
So there are a few networks building. There are 2 websites specifically for conservatives.
Oh.
There's one that's conservativetherapist.com.
Conservativetherapist.com.
And then there's a new one that just started. It's called conservativecounselors.com.
Conservativecounselors.com.
So those are 2 places to look.
Okay.
However, they're not all on that. Most of them aren't, quite frankly. But you can go on your insurance panel or on Psychology Today. Those are unfortunately very woke listed people, but you can sift through the files and make phone calls, weed out the people that have the pronouns in their profile and the people that have the social justice language. So that'll unfortunately weed out most of them already. And then you'll have to call and you'll have to ask questions.
Interview.
And you'll have to interview and you'll say, like, do you believe in empowering your patients? Do you believe in judging people by the color of their skin or by their character and their merit?
Yep.
You start asking them questions.
Yep.
You ask them, do you believe in involving parents? That's I focus a lot on families because unfortunately now therapists and teachers too have really focused on dividing families and saying like, oh no, you need to give me the privacy with your child. So basically they can turn their child against
that's
the parents.
Dangerous.
So you need to make sure as a parent, if you're looking for one for your child, that you're involved.
Yeah.
And you ask that therapist, do you involve the parents in your treatment?
Yeah.
And make sure that you're involved in the assessment and you're involved in the progress and you ask what is going on.
Okay.
They might not give every detail, of course, because the kid has to open up. They don't want their nosy mom to know everything. But at the same time, they're going to know the general treatment goals. They're going to know what are the behavioral issues, what is the progress, things like that. And the parent needs to be involved to be able to report on those things, to know what the kid is like outside of their office.
And this is what I think sometimes we have a tendency to put too much stock in credentials, right? So we as Americans will see a doctor or the letters and acronyms behind people's names, and we think, oh, they're an expert, they're a specialist, they know better than me, right?
And that is my message. Don't blindly trust experts. Trust yourself. If something doesn't feel right, ask more questions. And don't just go along with it just because someone with fancy letters behind their name says so.
That's why I had an experience where I started seeing a counselor, and I'm involved in politics, and I'm a crazy right winger, and so I'm in there talking about being a crazy right winger, and the therapist literally started arguing with me, trying to tell me why I was wrong to believe what I did.
That is ridiculous.
Literally, like, arguing with me about being a Christian and how I shouldn't put my faith in Jesus and read the Bible.
So, I come from old school therapy training, and we're supposed to learn how to be culturally competent. And so what that's supposed to mean is that you are supposed to listen to the values and beliefs and culture of your client and go with that, right?
And now I'm sure if I was like, I think bestiality is great. I think, we should totally, whatever. Maybe argue with me about that.
Right.
Right?
There's obviously some lines, but yeah.
I feel like, the idea that mainstream thoughts and ideas should be guilted and shamed in a therapeutic session is outrageous to me.
It is outrageous.
I immediately fired that guy, actually.
Good for you.
What I did, Pam, you know what I did?
What?
I started talking more shit. Okay? That's going to have to be bleeped out. But I could tell he was getting red in the face and upset with what I was saying. So I actually just doubled down on what I was saying, and even things I didn't necessarily believe, because I wanted to see how he reacted.
That's awesome.
I got him so mad, and I was like, sir, do you see how you're behaving and react? Are you the therapist or am I right now, sir?
Yeah, seriously. Well, you brought up a good point, because most therapists are the ones that need the therapy. But that's
we
a
all
whole
need
other
therapy.
subject.
Let's be real.
Well, this is actually something that I've come to the conclusion of. I believe, obviously, in therapy. I believe people need mental health treatment. I've worked with some severe populations where they have schizophrenia and bipolar type 1, and they obviously need support. However, our culture now is normalizing therapy to the point where I don't think we always need therapy. I think that people are running to therapy too quickly.
Okay.
I think especially parents with their children, if they're having some problems with their children, instead of them believing in themselves, maybe putting down some strict rules or just trying different things within their family.
Yeah.
They go straight to the expert and think, I can't handle this, I got to go to the expert. And I think what would really help our society is if parents really believed in themselves more and less in experts.
I love that. Okay, so now, before we wrap up our interview, what is one final thought you want to leave our viewers with? What is the most important thing that you're jazzed or worried about right now that you want to make sure is on top of everybody's mind?
Oh my God, well, I think I just said it. Trust yourself.
I unknowingly led you to it.
Oh no. Recognize that institutions are captured, that experts don't know everything.
Okay.
And if you think it's crazy, it's actually crazier.
It's actually worse than you can imagine.
It's worse. Yeah.
And Pam, I just want to say thank you, because it takes the people that are part of the institution already, I think, speaking out and sharing that it's broken.
Yeah, it's very broken.
Because so many of us are just unsure, and we don't necessarily know what to believe or who to believe. And so I just want to applaud you.
Thank you.
You don't seem like you're shy in front of the camera. You're very open, and and it's obvious how passionate you are and how much you care about people.
I am. That's what this is about.
Yeah.
I'm taking my old liberal self and passion and pouring it into my conservative values.
Exactly.
I'm the best of both worlds.
Well, it's like you're therapizing. Is that a verb? Can I say that? We're going to say you're using the therapeutic things that you've believed to help us all wake up to the truth about the industry.
And empower. I really want people to be empowered.
I love that. So you're actually still a therapist.
I guess.
Literally. You're empowering us. You're empowering
you can all
our
believe
viewers.
in yourselves. Believe in yourself. You can do it.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So Pam,
I made that at the last minute for the conference.
Oh, good idea. Okay, so Pam, not only are you the truthful therapist, you're the truthful author.
Soon to be.
She's got a book coming out, y'all. Okay, so what is it? The Practical Response to Gender Distress.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
So this is like therapy. This is how to help your kids if they're having some thoughts.
Yeah, so this is this book. This is a flyer, but it will soon be a book. It's geared towards parents, but really anyone who has children or young people in their life that's struggling with gender or really just exposed to gender, which is pretty much everyone these days. It's got some preventative tools on how to help kids stand up to the pronoun pressure. It's got a trans English dictionary, so we fuddy-duddies that
I love it.
maybe don't know all of the lingo can understand what it is and what people are saying, so you can talk to someone.
We need that. We literally need that because half the time I'm like, what did you just say?
Exactly.
Okay.
All the lingo, all the difference between like transsexualism and transgender. What's an NB? What's assigned gender? It's assigned male at birth, AFAB, AMAB. All these different words, all these different acronyms. There's so many.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so there's all that in there. There's a ton of resources. So lots of other people who are doing similar work to me. So that some people are focusing even more on gender. Have done some great work. Is in there. And I've just taken my 20 plus years of experience and put it in this book on just how to approach a teenager without affirming them, without buying into their lie, but also not completely confronting them in a way that's going to backfire and push them away, so that they don't run into the hands of their glitter family, which is basically the people who are indoctrinating them to believe that you hate them. That's real. I didn't make that up.
No, well, and you know what's so funny? This is something we have to learn, especially is people on the right. We have a tendency to try to talk to people about logic, facts, and reason.
Yeah, it doesn't always work.
And this is what therapy will tell you. This is what they told us in marriage counseling, in any kind of interpersonal relationship. You first have to connect with someone. You have to affirm them.
Right.
Not necessarily like affirm their beliefs, but just they need to know that you actually care.
Right.
They want to know that you're listening. A really popular sales technique is feel, felt, found. Excuse me, I just spit. I just totally
I didn't
spit.
feel
I'm
it.
sorry.
I didn't
Okay,
feel
good.
it.
I saw it come out of my mouth. But feel, felt, found, right? I have felt that way. I understand how you feel. I have felt that way, right? You relate to the person and what they're dealing with, and then you say what I found, and then you share your personal experience or why you believe something differently, right? But I know from personal experience that if I'm upset and my husband is like, well, facts and logic and reason, I'm like, screw you!
You're lame and stupid.
Right. But if he just says, I'm sorry, honey, and then he comes over and he loves me and he hugs me, then I can have a conversation and really start to dig in what it is that I'm actually upset about.
And then you might even admit that you're being a little overreactional or something like that, but you need to do that yourself. And especially when you're dealing with teenagers. We know what teenagers are
who
like.
Who are hormonal and crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, like the way I would frame it is like you validate their feeling, but you don't affirm their feeling.
Okay, that's how you would say it.
Yeah.
All right. Like you're a real person.
Like you might feel that real distress in your body, but let's talk about what's going on.
Is that reality?
And I love you no matter what. Stuff like that. Because the cult is basically trying to teach the kid that their family hates them and that their new family will accept them in a much better way. So it's like you need to, no matter what, you need to tell them you love them, both in words, but in also showing them.
Yeah.
And then be there for them. Also, spend time with them. A lot of times it helps to even not talk about the gender thing.
Yes.
And just connect with them on just be in person together, like time together to go on a walk together or whatever. Do the activities that would connect you.
Yeah.
So all these things to help families overcome, and it takes time. So understand that too. It's not like one and done. Like, oh no, you're a boy, you're a girl, stop it.
Yeah.
You know?
So I love this. Okay, so this is going to be a great resource for families.
Yeah.
Okay, Practical Response to Gender Distress by Pam Garfield Jaeger. And she does have letters behind her name, but she's not crazy.
I do. I have several letters.
She has lots of letters.
Degree.
There's like 7 letters, six letters. So when is the book coming out?
So I'm self-publishing it, so we're hoping it will come out the end of January, early February.
Okay, so the beginning of 2024, y'all.
Beginning of 2024.
Be on the lookout for this. It's going to be on like Amazon.
It'll be on Amazon.
Amazon.com.
Yes.
Okay, so when you get this published, make sure you let us know.
I will.
Because we're going to bring you back on for the podcast.
Oh, I'd love
and we're
to.
going to talk about it.
Yeah, I would love
and
to.
And advertise it.
Yeah.
All right. All right, you
it's
guys.
something I need to get in everyone's hands. Thank you.